everyone. So my name is Sylvain. I'm policy officer in DG Energy. Prior joining the commission, I was actually working in research and innovation as a research engineer. And I was working on the kind of tools that were referred to during the presentation, making connections between the building information models and Energy Plus and other tools and so on. So trying to basically make tools for designers, for architects to make better buildings. So I'm very glad to be here with you in front of such an audience today. I'm going to talk about the revision of the EPBD, the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive, and about the development of a specific tool in this framework, starting with a reminder. So the Commission adopted in November 2016 a package of proposals for of legislative proposals. This package aims at driving us to a completely different energy system, aims at supporting the Union in the clean energy transition. It covers many areas, which I'm not going to detail, but roughly electricity market design, renewable energy, energy efficiency, and all this underpinned by a governance which clarifies how all these legislative texts are going to be implemented in the Union. On energy efficiency in particular, we have three main instruments. The first one is the Energy Efficiency Directive. The second one is the eco-design and energy labeling regulations. And the third one is the Energy Performance of Buildings Directive. These three instruments are updated in the scope of this package, and I will detail in particular the revision of the EPBD. So the building sector is, without any surprise, a very strategic area for energy. So you all know the figures: 40% of final energy consumption, 36% of CO2 emissions in the EU. And there is a recognition that a large part of the building stock, and this is confirmed by the data we've seen, is not enough efficient and has to be improved. So the aim of the revision of the PBD is to put forward two main areas. The first one is the need to renovate the existing buildings, and the second one is to make a greater use of smart technologies in buildings because they can have a good impact. There has been 1 year of negotiations since the EC proposal, and following 1 year of negotiations, there was a political agreement in December 2017, and we are actually now approaching the publication of the text, which has been formally approved by the co-legislators. So this is the first text of the package actually to be adopted. The main outcomes of the revision of the EPBD is again, a focus on renovation, which translates in many additional elements. But the main one is that member states will be required to define and implement long-term renovation strategies in view of decarbonization of the building stock by 2050. And these long-term renovation strategy will make greater use of the possibilities in the area of energy efficiency financing. There is also a good step towards the European standards in terms of energy performance calculation in this revision. Recognition of the role that automation and smart technologies can play. This translates into additional requirements and incentives for the installation of such systems. And also a new element is the support to electromobility through dedicated provisions. The long-term renovation strategies are, of course, a major step forward in this revision. There will be, in the text, it is detailed what these long-term renovation strategies should include. It includes measurable progress indicators with intermediary milestones in 2030 and 2040, the requirement for the member states to lead public consultation for the definition of these of these strategies and further consultations at implementation time. And also member states will be required to better support the financing of renovation along 3 pillars: a more effective use of public funds, the de-risking of energy efficiency investments, and the aggregation of projects and technical assistance for project funding. Energy poverty is also emphasized as part of these long-term renovation strategies, and it is also an important element. There is, in this revision, the requirement for the Commission to establish a smart readiness indicator for buildings. This scheme will be an optional common union scheme. It will be established through 2 legal acts that will cover, on the one side, the definition and the calculation methodology of the indicator, and on the other side, the technical modalities for implementation, with a deadline for adoption at the end of 2019. This indicator shall cover the capabilities of buildings at operation time, in particular, of course, to adapt to users' needs and to external events in relation to the grid, for instance. There are 3 main capabilities areas which are considered. The ability of the building to adapt to users' needs, maintaining healthy indoor climate conditions, the capability of the building to optimize performance and operation, the flexibility of buildings' electricity demand. The aim is basically to raise awareness of building owners and users on the benefits of these technologies and to make sure they can make informed decisions. So, regarding the development of this indicator, we started in March 2017 a first technical study that is based on the assumptions from the European Commission proposal, because at the time we didn't have the final text. There has been, in the scope of this first technical study, a very significant involvement from the stakeholders, and we are very grateful for the time and energy that has been spent by the community in following up this study. This study has given a first proposal of what the scope and the calculation methodology of the indicator could be. And it will be a basis for progressing towards the development of the indicator as part of the policy-making process that is starting now, so the establishment of the acts. And to support the establishment of the legal acts on the indicator, we are planning to start a second technical study that will be launched tentatively in October of this year, and which will focus on the consolidation, refinement of the outcomes of the first study, and which will investigate all the areas which have been a bit left aside, like implementation of the indicator in the Union. Just to mention that we are not working only in the scope of the EPBD. We see that smart buildings can contribute, provided the technologies are appropriate, of course, to the achievement of 2030 targets and to the decarbonization of the building stock. And we want to use the instruments we have in a complementary way. So we have the Smart Readiness Indicator in the EPBD, but we also have other instruments, which I mentioned at the beginning, eco-design and energy labeling regulations. And what we are currently investigating is how these regulations could possibly be used to apply to building automation and control systems and to apply to energy smart appliances. And this is very, very complementary to what we are doing at the building scale. So this is all I wanted to say about this, and I thank you for your attention.